Hello and welcome to Transform Tuesday. I'm Dave McCormick, the VP of Product Management here at Alpha Software, and I'm pleased to be joined by Sarah Mitchell, our Director of Customer Success. Last week, we were covering Internet of Things with Alpha Transform. This week, we're going to be doing a different presentation, more of a newbie presentation, on using Alpha Transform for doing delivery verifications. Of course, we're also here to answer any questions, so you can type those questions into the questions box of the GoToWebinar control panel. All right, let's get started. There we go. And we're going to talk today about delivery. Now, we've talked in the past about dispatch, which is a very similar use case for Transform in that you're sending people out to businesses and homes to do something, often to perform a repair or an inspection or something like that. Delivery, of course, is a much simpler thing. You're just here to drop off packages. And this is becoming, of course, more and more popular, not just with Amazon, the big behemoth of package delivery, but even local businesses are taking more to delivery than they've had in the past. The question is, when you deliver something to someone's place of work or someone's residence, how do you ensure that you have proof that the delivery was made? And here we're going to talk about a simple app that you can put together in minutes pretty much that'll do that. Let me explain how it will work. Imagine that you are in a delivery van or something like that, and at the beginning of the day, you open up your phone and you open up Transform and you get a list of the deliveries that you need to make. Right now, I just have these two right here. And so one's going into Boston and one's going into a place called Anytown. So we don't do route optimization. So before you ask that question, no, we don't do that right now. We did do an example of route optimization. It was very cool during DevCon using Alpha Anywhere. But let's just assume that the driver is smart enough to know what order they're supposed to go in to efficiently deliver the packages. So what they do is they'll tap on one of the addresses here and it will open up a form. The form is pre-filled with the name, the address, city, state, zip, or postcode, and then phone number in case you need to get in contact with the recipient for some sort of clarification as to where you would like the package, where they would like the package dropped off. So that's all pre-filled for the delivery driver. They don't have to fill that out. They just need to make sure that the package matches what's here in the app. What they then will do is they will take a GPS reading and they'll just use that using a GPS form and then take a quick photograph of the building. So here's the outside of the building where the package is going to be delivered. And if the packages have got barcodes or QR codes on them, it might be helpful to scan those codes as well as further proof. So they can use the Add Scan button right here. And using the scanner, they will add the different packages that they scanned right into different fields here in Transform. When that's done, we'll take a picture of the actual boxes themselves. So here's where they were delivered and here are the boxes. And at this point, you might check on the boxes to see whether or not signature is required. This could be filled out ahead of time. You might say that it's yes or no, but assuming that maybe you didn't know and it just said on the box signature required, you could tap that yes button and two additional fields would appear. One is a signature place where you can tap to sign, and the other is the signature, the last name of the person who signed. So this isn't your signature, it is the recipient's signature. So it may look something like this. And Miguel Raton has signed here, and Raton is the last name. And when they submit this form, the form is removed from the device because they're all done, and it can be accessed back in Transform Central, just here in the management console. And here you'll see, here's that picture that we took. Here are the package scans and all of that. So how do we put together a form like this? Well, what I like about a form like this is it actually shows off quite a few different features of Transform. It shows off heading templates and data groups and button lists, location fields, scanner fields, photo fields, change status buttons, and even conditionals. So let me just take you on a quick run through of all that so you can put together a sophisticated form like the one I put together here. What I did in Transform Central is I probably started with Quickstart Text just by typing in all of my fields. But what I got after Quickstart Text are these here. I added in a name field, which is a text field, address, which is a text field, address to, city, state, zip, phone number, all text fields. GPS location is a location field. A photo is a photo field. And then for the packages themselves, I lump them into what's called a data group. Why don't I just rebuild this form from scratch? Because I think it would be more helpful to see it that way. I'm going to pop over to my transform account. Should be here. And this was my form. So I'm going to go ahead into Designer. I'm going to create a new form in a blank form. And I'm going to call it, let me scroll up, TT Delivery 2. TT Delivery 2. Okay. So for my Quickstart text, I'm just going to type in fact, I can cheat by looking over here. I'm going to type in name, address 1, address 2, city, state, zip, zip, phone, GPS location, photo of building. And then if I want to do scans, I'm going to have a field here for scanning. So I'm going to call that package scan field. And I might want to have multiple of those, but I'll show you how I handle that in a minute. And then we want to have the photo of the actual packages themselves. You just type that in. And then if it needs a signature or not, we need to know that. It needs signature. And then we'd need a signature field if we do, and also a last or the signee's last name field. And then last but not least, we'd want to have a submit button. So I've just typed these in, and as you can see, it's automatically created all those fields over here on the right. And I could save this and go ahead and use the form as is, but there's a little bit of logic that I want to add to it. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that all of my fields are tagged by the correct data types so that they're handled intelligently when I open them up on my phone. So name is a text field, that's fine. So is address, city, state, zip, and phone. Phone, I think I want to make a phone number. So I'm just going to move the cursor here. Also, I could have just clicked here, which does the same thing. And I'm going to use the magic wand button next to the phone here in this quick start help. And it automatically codes it for me. So I now know that it's a phone number field. For GPS location, that is a location field. I'm hitting the magic wand next to location. Photo of the building, well, that's going to be a photo field. Scan of the packages, scanner. Photo of the packages, you guessed it, photo. Needs signature, we're going to make that a button list. Yes and no, and those options right here are already good, yes and no. And then the signature will be a signature field, and we can leave the signee last name as a text field. So we have all of the fields in place, I believe, and we're going to go ahead and save this. And we're going to click to save changes again so that we have saved that up onto the cloud. With that in place, we're going to make a couple of edits here. First of all, I'm going to double click on that form I just created. We're going to take a look here through these fields. And I'm going to give some of these fields a better field name. Now, when I say field name, I don't mean the label that the user sees when they're typing it in. I mean the internal name that we use to do certain logic operations. So for name, for example, I'm just going to call that field name name instead of field 1. And for address 1, I'm going to call that one address 1. And we'll skip over address 2. Let's go to city, and we'll do city. And that should be good enough. And the only other one that I want to do is the needs signature field. And I'm going to say needs signature. I want to give that a field name of needs signature. All right, cool. So with those in place, I can go ahead and I could save now. I tend to save often. You probably don't have to, but I just do. And I'm going to double click here. And I've got it kind of the way I want it at this point. But what I want to do, first of all, is I want to set it up so that when I'm doing my GPS scans, right here, my package scans, I want to allow for multiple. Right now, I just have one field for that. So to do that, I'm going to put it in what's called a data group. And to do that, I just click on the field that I want to put in the data group, or fields if there are multiple. And I'm going to click plus. And I'm going to scroll down to data group, and I'm going to choose the enclose button here. And when I do that, you see the field becomes indented, and then I have a new set of properties here for my data group. And it's going to say item data group 1, and I get to add some custom messages. So instead of saying add a new item to group 1, I'm going to say add scan. And the delete message, which is set for me automatically, is something that was similar to that. I'm just going to call delete scan, or sorry, delete scan. All right. So now when this appears, if I want to add a scan, I can click here, and then and only then will my scan field appear, and then I can use that again and again. Okay, moving on. We also know that whether or not a signature appears, and for that matter, the signee's last name appears, it should be dependent on this field here, whether or not it needs a signature in the first place. So if it doesn't need a signature, then these two fields should be hidden. So to do that, I'm going to click both of them. I'm going to hit plus again, and I'm going to scroll down into, this time into my if section, my conditional section, and I'm going to enclose that. And I'm going to say if, and I'm going to type in my field name here, which is going to be £, because that's how field names start, as you see. £, needs signature equals quote YES. And that should do it. And then when that's in place, that should only appear when I need the signature. So I'm going to go ahead and do one more thing to my form here. And I'm going to add a button so you can actually submit it. So I'm going to say plus. We're going to scroll down to the what's called change status. That's how you can add a button. And change status is going to say it's submitted. And then it's going to say, what do you want it to say on the, okay, so that's there. Status change message. It says close and upload form. That should be fine. But what I want to do, because I don't want this field, after you've filled in this form, I don't want it to appear on the phone anymore, because I don't want it to clutter up the screen. For example, if you've done 5 deliveries and you had 10 to do that day, you want the 5 remaining to remain on your phone. You want the other 5 to disappear. And you can handle that very easily just by clicking this box here. It says change form instance so that it will not download to Filler. Filler means the mobile app. So when this button is changed, the status is going to be changed so that when you refresh the phone, that form goes away. Okay, hopefully you're with me so far. After that, I just go ahead and click Save, and I click Save Changes. And what we want to set up is a heading template. Let me explain why. Do you see here how it's got the last name of the person and their address? That wouldn't appear by default. We had to tell Transform that that's how we want it set up. And to do that, what I did was I went into the Advanced Features section for my form. And let's choose the one that I actually used. I think it was called Test TT Delivery. Here it is. I went to the Advanced Features of the form. I scrolled down until I got to Heading Template. And with heading templates, you can type in any text that you want. You could type in a limited amount of HTML as well, like you can do breaks and things like that. But you can also put things in these curly brackets to create templates. And what's neat about that is it means that you can insert field names from your form. So remember how I changed the names, the internal names, to simply name, address 1, and city? Well, here they are here. Name, address 1, and city. I put a pipe character between them and a comma between the address and the city. Probably should have added a space. That would have looked nicer, but I didn't. And so here you'll see the name, this, and this. And that's how we set that up. And I think that that's all I need to show you, but let's take a quick review through the PowerPoint. Once that was all set, we were able to grab the location fields because we tagged them as location fields. We were able to grab the photo of the building because we tagged it as a photo field. We added a scanner field, and we placed that scanner field inside a data group so that you could take as many scans as you wanted. Lastly, we had, last few things is we had a photo of the package that you could take right here. And we had a conditional button set up called signature required. If you recall, we named that field needs signature as its internal name, and we set up an if statement so that if it is yes, two more fields appear, signature and the signee name. And with that, we're able to capture the signature, and we're able to have that submit button, submit it back, where it then disappears off the phone, and the person making the deliveries can go on to the next delivery. So let me just back up here to the beginning. I hope you found that helpful. Let me see if there are any questions here today, though. No, it doesn't look like it. Well, hey, thanks so much for everyone for showing up. Thank you very much, Sarah, for being here. If you do have questions, of course, send them to tfservice@alphasoftware.com. Until then, stay well and take care. Bye-bye.